Staying outdoors when the temperature's round about 0°C is a little bit problematic. Snow, ice and frost might melt. Then again, dew and mud may freeze. In the sun, it may be above zero. Below, it probably is. And if there's a wind, then you'd better start thinking about the wind chill factor. So if you want to see some ideas about how to get properly dressed, stay tuned.
Winter can be cold, wet, dry, windy or calm, or any combination you can think of. Your premier defence line outdoors in winter is your clothing. When considering clothing for the cold climate, you need to think about wicking, ventilation, layering and the shell layer.
If you go powering up hills like this, regardless of the time of year, you're going to sweat.
Your clothes need to wick away sweat from your body and get rid of it. Don't wear too much clothing or work too hard and build up sweat. Don't wear cotton inner layers that get wet and stay wet and cool you down as your body tries to dry them out. Wear natural fibres such as wool that might get damp or wet but retain their warmth, or man-made fibres that get rid of moisture and don't get cold because they wick away moisture from your core. Bearing this in mind, we'll start off with the base layer. Your base layer is your underwear. It can be your normal underwear, but once again I've got to say, don't wear cotton. You can combine your underwear with thermal underwear as well, or even just replace it. Thermal underwear tends to be man-made fibres, or more expensively merino wool. Your warmth layer is the layer between your underwear and your shell. Starting at the bottom you have trousers. They can be, if possible, windproof and of sufficient thermal weight to be warm in the conditions you're working in. However, you can wear windproof trousers over your ordinary trousers. On top you have a layer that fastens up to the neck, either a shirt or a roll zip neck, but certainly not something that cannot be ventilated. This layer needs to be ventilated to stop you overheating, sweating and then cooling down. So instead of having one thick jumper, it's far better to have a thin one and a medium one. They can be combined or used separately. Thin, then medium, then both together. But I stress again, you need something where you can open the neck to cool down during periods of high activity and zip up to keep warm when you rest. Ventilating your arms as well as your neck is also important. If you have cuffs that can be undone with buttons or roll up anyway, they can be used to help regulate your heat loss. The shell layer. This is the outer layer that reduces heat loss and prevents weather ingress. It needs to be wind and waterproof. A tightly woven cotton or canvas outer layer is good in cold, dry conditions. In cold, wet conditions, a breathable membrane jacket is more useful. But once again, the toughness of the jacket will have to be determined by the terrain. It is possible to buy combined wind and breathable water protection. They're good. However, having them as separate garments allows you to be more adaptable and change the layers of clothing that you're actually using at the time.
Once you've got your body sorted out, it's time to look after your extremities. Your head, your feet, your hands.
If you can't walk, you can't work. Socks are important. They should be fresh, undarned and fit the foot and the footwear that's being used. The best option is to use wool or wool blend. unless of course there's a good reason not to. There may be medical reasons not to use wool or wool blend, but certainly stay away from nylon and nylon football style socks.
Regardless of the weather conditions, your footwear needs to be well fitting, have a non-slip sole, be supportive and be weatherproof, whether it's dry snow, wet mud or just plain cold.
Gloves are needed to keep your fingers warm and thus maintain dexterity. They also need sometimes to be waterproof. Again, layers can do the job. You can wear gloves with an outer waterproof or snowproof layer. The gloves should fit over your wrists inside your jacket. The outer gloves should fit over the sleeves of your outer shell. This maintains integrity and keeps you warm enough. Again, thin gloves can be used in conjunction with thicker gloves, and the materials are also important. Silk is light, durable and very effective as inner gloves.
Gloves are good, but in many cases mitts are better as they allow the heat transfer from one finger to another. Inner gloves and outer mitts are often the best combination. The weather can be cool or cold. It can be windy or calm. It can be wet or dry. A knitted woolen watch cap will keep you warm when it's wet. However, it's no good in the wind. If it's windy, you need something that's going to keep the wind out as well as keep you warm. If it's wet, you need something like a Gore-Tex cap to keep your head dry. If it's extremely cold, you're going to need a warm hat with ear flaps. You have to change the hat you wear for the varying conditions. Even with keeping warm, the devil is in the detail. Extra warmth can be provided by things like neck and head overs, gilets and scarves. Although not sexy, they are important for keeping your body temperature up, as well as layering up and layering down to keep your temperature constant and comfortable. Remember the fabrics that you use. If you're using open fires, man-made fibres are prone to melt. Although the clothing items may change, the general principle is always the same. Add layers when you're cold, take them off when you're getting warm or are about to get warm. So before you get out training, layer up and layer down. You know it makes sense. It will serve you well.